Have you ever stood in front of a mirror, looked into your own eyes, and whispered to yourself, "I want to change"? But why is it so hard? If you have, then stay with me, because today, I, James, will tell you a story that changed the way I learned English, the way I disciplined myself, the way I transformed my entire life, one small, steady step at a time. Let's begin slowly, gently. Just breathe in and listen. There was once a boy, not very confident, not very fluent, not very brave. He would sit in class, quiet, hoping the teacher wouldn't call his name. Whenever English lessons began, his heart beat louder than the teacher's voice. "Please, not me. Not today," he would think. Maybe you felt the same. Maybe you still do. But that boy, he had something inside him, something small, something silent, something powerful, self-discipline. It wasn't loud, it wasn't perfect, but it was there, waiting like a sleeping tiger, ready to wake. One day, he made a promise to himself, a very small promise. I will learn one new English word every day, just one word. He didn't try to learn 50. He didn't try to master grammar in one night. He didn't rush. He started with the smallest step possible, and that was his turning point. Because self-discipline doesn't start with big plans. It starts with tiny movements, small actions, gentle beginnings. Let me tell you something important. Your English journey doesn't require perfection. It requires discipline, not the harsh kind, not the force yourself kind, but the soft discipline, the type that whispers, "Just one step today, just one more tomorrow." But wait. Let me ask you something. Have you ever started learning English, felt excited for 2 days, and then suddenly stopped? Be honest. If yes, you're not alone. Millions of learners do the same, including me, including that boy I told you about. Self-discipline is not a superpower. It's a practice, a habit, a choice repeated again and again and again. He continued his one-word routine for a week, then a month, then 3 months, and slowly, very slowly, his confidence began to grow. Not because he learned thousands of words, but because he kept his promise. He proved to himself, yes, I can be consistent. Can I tell you a secret? When you keep even the smallest promise to yourself, your mind begins to trust you. And when your mind trusts you, learning becomes easier, faster, and more enjoyable. Now, every night, after finishing his homework, he would sit near the window, open his tiny notebook, and whisper the new word of the day. Sometimes the wind was loud. Sometimes he was tired. Sometimes he didn't feel like studying at all, but he still whispered the word, softly, slowly, with discipline. Imagine this. You sit down tonight. You pick one phrase, maybe, "I believe in myself," or "I can do this." You repeat it slowly. You plant it in your mind. And tomorrow, you come again and repeat another small phrase. Do you realize how powerful that is? People often ask me, "James, how can I become fluent? How can I speak confidently?" And I always say, it's not about studying for 3 hours one day. It's about studying for 10 minutes every day, without fail. That's self-discipline, and that's where English mastery begins. Let me share a moment with you. One evening, that same boy, after months of steady discipline, raised his hand in class for the first time. His voice shook. His palms were sweating. But he spoke. A simple sentence, nothing fancy, But his teacher smiled. His classmates turned toward him. And inside his chest, something exploded. Something bright, powerful, warm, pride, because he knew. This confidence didn't come from luck. It came from every single night, when I sat alone, whispering one word. Tell me, have you ever felt proud of yourself after doing something small but meaningful? If yes, write it in the comments. I'd love to read your story. So, as David stood there, in that small, silent lane, staring at the empty box in his hands, something inside him shifted. It was not just about waking up early anymore. It was not about remembering a routine. It was something deeper, something quieter. He felt a voice whisper inside him. James, do you ever feel this? The moment when life suddenly tells you you are capable of much more? And slowly, David walked back home, not in frustration, but in awareness. He whispered to himself, maybe self-discipline is not something I force. Maybe it is something I build, one tiny step at a time. Friends, if you are listening, just pause here for a second and tell me in comments, what is one habit you want to build? I'm reading all your comments, so write it down. When David reached home, he didn't collapse on the bed. He sat near the window, looking at the rising sun, glowing softly over the houses. The world outside looked peaceful, like a fresh start. And he said slowly, tomorrow, I will try again, but in a better way, not in a harsh way. The next morning, he didn't wake up at 5 or 4 or some extreme time. He woke up gently at 6:30, just 30 minutes earlier than usual. He stretched, breathed slowly, and smiled. This feels possible. He said, this feels real. People think self-discipline means suffering, strictness, forcing yourself like a soldier. But true discipline is gentle. It is patient. It grows slowly like a plant. You water it daily with tiny efforts, and slowly it becomes a tree, strong enough to support your entire life. David picked up his notebook and wrote 3 tiny lines. Wake up a little early, read for 10 minutes, no phone for the first hour. Simple, small, doable. He didn't aim for perfection, only progress. And that, my friend, is the secret most people ignore. Are you listening carefully? Because this single idea can change your entire journey. In the beginning, discipline must be soft. It must be kind. If you attack yourself with pressure, your mind will run away. But if you guide yourself with patience, your mind will follow. As days passed, David followed these tiny rules. Some days he succeeded, some days he slipped, but he always returned, always tried again, without guilt, without anger, and slowly, without even noticing, he began changing. He started reading a few extra pages. He started waking up a little earlier. He started planning his day, not in fear, but in excitement. He began enjoying the quiet morning hours, where thoughts were calm and life felt under control. One evening, he met his friend Maya, who asked him, David, you look different these days, more focused, more peaceful. What happened? And he smiled softly, almost shyly, and said, I think I finally stopped fighting myself. I started working with myself. Discipline is not punishment. It is love. It is self-respect. Maya stared at him and whispered, Wow. Say that again. David repeated slowly. Discipline is love. When you discipline yourself, you are telling your mind, your goals matter, your dreams matter. Your life matters. Friends, if this line touched you, press the like button right now. It really supports this channel. But more importantly, it tells me you are still here with me, learning, improving, growing. And the beautiful thing is, the more David followed his tiny habits, the more confident he became. Confidence doesn't come from success. It comes from keeping promises you make to yourself, even tiny ones. Every morning he would sit with his tea, reading, learning new words, practicing sentences, and he felt a spark inside him, a kind of quiet pride. Not loud, not dramatic, just peaceful, steady. Then something surprising happened. His colleagues at work began noticing, "David, you are more organized, more focused. Your work is cleaner, sharper. What's your secret?" And he would laugh, saying, "It's nothing big, just small habits, done daily." Isn't it funny? People always look for big tricks, big shortcuts, big secrets. But the real power lies in small actions, repeated consistently. This is the heart of self-discipline. Have you ever tried building a small habit? Tell me in the comments. I genuinely want to know what your journey looks like. One night, while preparing for an important presentation, David realized something beautiful. He no longer had to push himself. His habits were now automatic. He didn't force discipline. Discipline had become part of who he was. And in that moment, he looked at his old notebook, the one where he used to write tiny goals. He touched the cover gently and whispered, "Thank you for reminding me who I can become. If you're still here listening, thank you. And also, don't forget to like this video right now. It really helps this channel reach more learners like you." The story continues. But this is the moment where David's journey shifts from simple habits to building powerful self-discipline that transforms his entire life, and your life too, if you choose to walk with him. As days turned into weeks, David began to notice something subtle but powerful. His mind felt clearer, his thoughts more organized, his actions more intentional. It was as if tiny habits were cleaning the dust from his life, little by little. One morning, while walking to work, he realized something surprising. He was actually excited to begin his day. That feeling was new, very new. And he whispered, "Is this what discipline feels like? Not pressure, but peace. Not fear, but freedom." And yes, that is the truth. Discipline frees you. It doesn't trap you. It gives you time, energy, confidence. It gives you control over your own story. And slowly, David was experiencing this shift, one breath at a time. He reached his office, sat at his desk, and opened his laptop. Calmly, quietly. Usually he would rush, panic, scroll his phone, distract himself. But today, everything felt different. He was fully present, fully alive. His colleague Rohan noticed and said, "David, man, what's happening to you? You look like you found some secret formula." David smiled and replied softly, "No formula, just discipline. Small, gentle, daily discipline." Friends, this is the moment where I want you to pause and ask yourself, what tiny discipline can you start today? Tell me in the comments. Really, share it. It will help you commit, and it will inspire others too. Later that evening, David walked to a nearby cafe, a quiet place he loved. Wooden tables, warm lights, smell of coffee floating everywhere. He carried a small book with him, and he sat in the corner, reading, reflecting. He turned a page and found a line that made him stop. Discipline is choosing what you want most over what you want now. He closed the book, leaned back, and whispered, "Yes, that's exactly what I'm learning." He remembered all those mornings when he wanted to sleep, but chose reading instead. The evenings when he wanted to scroll endlessly, but chose writing his goals. The moments he wanted comfort, but chose growth. These small choices, slowly, were reshaping his entire identity. Identity, that's a powerful word. Because true discipline is not about forcing action. It is about changing identity. You don't say, "I need to wake up early." You say, "I am someone who wakes up early." You don't say, "I should read." You say, "I am someone who reads." You don't say, "I must learn English." You say, "I am becoming fluent, day by day." And these identity shifts create long-lasting habits. This is what David was discovering without even realizing it properly. After finishing his coffee, he took a slow walk home. The sky was dark. The street lights were glowing softly, and the cool breeze touched his face gently. He felt content. In that moment, he wasn't proud of huge achievements. He was proud of tiny promises kept. When he reached home, he sat at his desk, opened a blank page, and wrote, I am becoming disciplined. I am becoming focused. I am becoming stronger each day. Even when I fail, I return again, and that is my power." He looked at those lines, felt a wave of calm, and whispered, "James, it's amazing how writing your thoughts makes them real, makes them alive." Friends, if you agree, tap the like button right now. It helps this video reach more learners who need this message. And honestly, your support keeps this channel growing. A few days later, something unexpected happened. David woke up late, very late. He missed his morning reading, missed his breakfast, rushed out of the house feeling flustered, frustrated, like he was losing control again. He felt a familiar voice inside him whisper, "See, you failed. You lost your discipline. You're back to the old you." But then he stopped, took a deep breath, and said, "No. Discipline is not perfection. Discipline is returning. One bad day does not erase my progress." This, my friend, is the turning point many people never understand. They think missing one day means losing everything. But the truth is, missing one day means nothing. But quitting means everything. David didn't quit. He returned the next morning, calmly, gently, like always. And he said, "It's okay. I am human. I will keep trying." Days passed. His self-discipline grew, and something magical happened. He began applying this discipline to learning English too. He made a rule: learn 5 new words daily. Use each word in one sentence. Speak aloud for 2 minutes, no matter what. Simple, small, powerful. And slowly, his English improved. He felt confident while talking. He felt more expressive. He felt his mind expanding, like a window opening wider each day. As weeks rolled into months, David felt something inside him becoming unshakable, a quiet power, a gentle fire, a kind of inner strength he had never felt before. And one evening, he finally understood what his journey had taught him. Self-discipline is not about forcing your life into a strict pattern. It is about shaping your life with intention. It is about choosing growth, choosing purpose, choosing a better version of yourself, again and again. He sat near his window, the soft evening light falling across his notebook, and he whispered, slowly, almost like a secret, "James, I'm finally becoming the person I always hoped to be." He thought about the old days, when he would wake up late, feel guilty, rush through life with no clarity, no focus, no direction. He remembered feeling lost, tired, disappointed with himself. And now, he looked at the present version of himself, calm, centered, consistent, disciplined, not perfect, just better. And that was enough. He closed his eyes for a moment, feeling gratitude settle in his heart. Gratitude for small habits, gratitude for second chances, gratitude for the quiet mornings, and the long evenings filled with learning, reading, improving. He opened his notebook and wrote one final line for the day. Self-discipline has given me my life back. Then he paused, smiled, and added softly, and it will give you yours too, if you let it. Friends, if you are still listening right now, thank you. Truly. Your presence here means you care about your growth, your future, your English, your mindset, and I want you to do one small thing for yourself, right now. Decide one tiny disciplined action you will do today, something small, something gentle, something possible. Maybe learning one new English phrase, maybe reading for 5 minutes, maybe speaking aloud for 1 minute. Just one small step, because small steps create big transformations. And before we end, I want to say this. You are stronger than you think. You are more capable than you believe. And your journey is just beginning. If this story inspired you, like this video right now, it really helps the channel grow, and it supports the creation of more stories like this. Subscribe for more.